An announcement from Mayor de Blasio about the growing measles outbreak in Brooklyn, centered in the Orthodox Jewish community.
It follows a health department crackdown on religious schools that allow unvaccinated students to attend classes. CBS News' Jenna DeAngelis, she is live in Williamsburg with more on this story. Jenna.
Alex and Mary, a public health emergency has been declared here in Williamsburg due to the measles crisis. It is now required here to get a vaccine, or you could face a $1,000 fine. And to give some perspective, Mayor de Blasio said in 2017 there were only 2 measles cases in New York City. There are now nearly 300.
The message today for all New Yorkers is to take measles seriously.
A strong message from Mayor de Blasio declaring a public health emergency. With measles cases growing at an alarming rate and Passover around the corner, a major concern for the city is people congregating will cause the dangerous disease to spread even more.
Department of Health will issue violations and fines to people who remain unvaccinated.
Ordering mandatory vaccinations in Williamsburg is an attempt by the city to put an end to this crisis. There have been 285 confirmed cases in Brooklyn and Queens since the outbreak began in October. Most involve those in the Orthodox Jewish community.
I want to set the record straight. This vaccine is safe. This vaccine not only protects your child, but as you heard from the mayor, it protects other people's children.
On top of that order, if a Williamsburg yeshiva opens its doors to children not vaccinated against the measles, the health department warns it could result in violations or school closure.
I think people should take a vaccination.
The opinion of the rabbis over here is they should get vaccines.
In Rockland County, another area hit hard with measles cases, there is still a battle going on over what to do about failure to vaccinate.
It's happening around New York State. It's only going to spread unless we fix the problems in the system. And the problems are we have way too lax of a requirement.
There'll be school vacation. There'll be more and more families together. The last thing we want to see is more family members afflicted by this disease.
So now it begins. As you just heard, New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio announced a public health emergency, calling for mandatory vaccines or pay a $1,000 fine. They have been getting the masses ready for this for a very long time. Predictive programming was being played out last year during an episode of Law and Order.
How do you feel?
I'm fine. Dad says I should go to school.
7 students confirmed with measles, 4 others possible.
How? They had to have been vaccinated.
These moms never vaccinated their kids and lied about it.
Vaccines are harmful. You are endangering the health of every child in this city.
Blue. No, it's turning blue.
Call 911.
Only as you might be scratching your head, wondering, are they really able to force vaccination on the public? Yes, they are able to do a lot of wicked and nasty stuff thanks to the Model State of Emergency Health Powers Act of 2001. See, during the time of an emergency health crisis, like we are seeing unfolding right now, the Model State of Emergency Health Powers Act, which will be passed during the time of a national health emergency, allows special powers, under executive orders, to be enforced. The public health authority, whoever that may be, can make people be vaccinated and quarantined against their will, including every single man, woman and child. Even if someone is unable or unwilling, for any reason such as health, religion, or conscience, they will still be forced to undergo treatment. People can be put in isolation and quarantined. The authorization has already been set forth to include individuals or groups who have not been vaccinated, treated, tested, or examined. The public health authority person may also establish and maintain places of isolation and quarantined. Ever heard of FEMA camps? The person in power has the right to set rules and make orders. Anyone who fails to obey these rules, orders, or provisions shall constitute a misdemeanor. See, beloved ones, a bond declaration, our Constitution, Bill of Rights and all civil liberties will come to an abrupt halt, outlined within many of these bills. Are you comprehending this? Special powers will be enforced under executive orders, and martial law will be in full force. The public health authority person will have the authority to mandate mass vaccinations, as the mayor of New York just announced. They can force quarantines, which we are seeing this right now with this current crisis. Those who are unable or unwilling to be vaccinated for reasons of health, religion, or conscience can be forced to receive treatment against their will. They can make their own set of rules and make orders. They can also do warrantless search and seizures. They can even take possession of private property, force medical exams and tests. And if someone fails or disobey these rules, orders, or provisions, they shall constitute a misdemeanor, and fines, and there will be no compensation and no accountability for any harm done to them. Theme may arise. As of 2006, 44 states have passed bills introducing this act into law. In part, New York is one of these states. They can literally force people into isolation and quarantine, which will be FEMA death camps. People can also be imprisoned. Lou, you might remember that just a few years ago, a judge from Maryland called for mass vaccinations of school-aged children. Hundreds of parents showed up for court on a Saturday. It was total chaos, as the children were forced to take the vaccine. The parents were threatened to be incarcerated if they did not show up. Do you see how serious this is, folks? It is not a matter of if, but of when. This is coming down the pipeline faster than a silver bullet. They always do small test runs before going large scale. Once the masses have been scared into accepting the new normal, the herd will easily be controlled. People will be fighting to get that jabbed or else be fined, barred from public places, denied job, just like all those hundreds of nurses a few years back that were being threatened, no jab, no job. Folks, the writing is on the wall. Either get the toxic jab or face your consequence of even being thrown into a FEMA camp. Refusal will cause your unvaccinated child to be barred from all public places. And think of how smart those that be are. Make the children feel isolated, as most want to fit in the crowd, not be
outsiders. The spread of measles. The state of emergency went into effect overnight in Rockland County, New York. It bans unvaccinated children from most public places. 153 people have been infected by measles in the county since last October. 48 of those infections occurred this year. Nikki Batiste is in West Nyack, Rockland County, with how officials hope the controversial ban will contain the disease. Nikki, good morning.
Good morning. Starting today, the shopping mall behind me is one of several public places that Rockland County will not allow unvaccinated minors to enter. The outbreak here is concentrated in the Orthodox Jewish community, and the county is now telling parents either get your children vaccinated or keep them home.
Well, my goal is to have this measles officially eradicated again in 2019.
Rockland County Executive Ed Day says he is determined to end the worst measles outbreak in the country. His emergency order went into effect at midnight, banning unvaccinated children under the age of 18 from entering public places, including schools, shopping malls, restaurants, and houses of worship. It does not apply to outdoor spaces. Is this more of a scare tactic, or are you expecting to actually?
Yes, this all to scare people to keep the sheeple in control. That is why there are so many Hollywood spellcasting movies out there to program the sheeple. Yes, we are to live by the laws of the land. However, the line is drawn when it interferes with Yahuwah's laws. Eventually this will spread out to adults also, and one will not be permitted to enter federal and state buildings, medical facilities, airports, bus, shopping stores, and eventually entire cities. It is coming. In the coming days, we the people will hear more stories of cities, towns and small villages having a surge in measles outbreaks. I truly believe Michigan will be next in mandating vaccination. In Lansing, Michigan, the number of cases in a measles outbreak centered in Southeast Michigan continues to rise, with state health officials saying today the number of infected patients in Michigan has risen to 41. To stop measles spread, Birmingham school tells unvaccinated kids not to come to class and to stay home for 21 days. There have been major outbreaks through the country and even worldwide.
Not to vaccinate. Dr. Texas are preparing for the possibility of a measles outbreak. 8 measles cases have been confirmed in Texas this year, according to the Texas Health and Human Services. One case confirmed as close as Bell County, only 70 miles from Austin. The respiratory illness is highly contagious, can be spread by sneezing or coughing, and is especially dangerous for children.
If a person with measles was in a room and there were 10 people in that room, 9 out of 10 people in that room will end up with measles.
This map is an epidemic simulator that shows what a measles outbreak would look like in Austin. The city has been named an anti-vaccine hotspot by medicine publisher and advocacy organization, the Public Library of Science. The red dots show how rapidly the disease spreads in schools, with high rates of children whose parents chose not to vaccinate. Dr. Marianne Rodriguez with Austin Public Health says they're monitoring hospitals and vaccination stockpiles.
And so far, our immunization department has been noting more requests for vaccinations for measles.
Health officials continue to urge parents to vaccinate. According to the CDC, measles left untreated can cause pneumonia, swelling of the brain, and even death.
My main message is that vaccination is your best way to protect yourself from measles.
Natalie Martinez, Fox 7 Austin.
A spike in measles cases in Australia has prompted immunization warnings. Are you at risk? Australians are being urged to check their immunization history as the number of measles cases in the country climbs towards a 5-year high. Nationally, there have been 92 confirmed cases of measles so far this year. Do you see where this is going? The article further states, globally, we're seeing hundreds of thousands of cases of measles, and indeed, tens of thousands of measles deaths. They are stating that this is a very serious situation. Get ready, folks. This measles outbreak is just the start. Even Canadians are also seeing a widespread outbreak of the measles. This article states 62,230 measles cases have been reported by Ukraine, the Philippines, and Brazil during 2019. As of March 19, 2019, the 3 leading measles hotspots around the world are as follows. Ukraine, with 11 people have died and more than 30,500 have been infected during 2019. The Philippines, where 315 people have died, and a total of 21,396 measles cases were reported from January to March 14, 2019. That is astonishing. In Brazil, 12 people have died and a total of 10,334 confirmed measles cases have been reported during 2019. During 2018, 98 countries around the world reported an increase in measles cases, with 136,000 deaths attributed to the disease, reported the World Health Organization. This is crazy, all these deaths. They have created the chaos. They use force, seclusion and even guilt to get people to summit, or else, if your child is not vaccinated, then they will be spreading it to other children, which could possibly cause children to die. Who really wants that on their conscience? Or who can afford to pay $1,000? Most families are trying to stay afloat and make ends meet. We all know how ludicrous the entire theory of preventing disease through injecting the disease into one's temple is totally insane. Check out this deleted scene from the Disney movie Around the World in 80 Days.
So be on the lookout for this man, Louis Pasteur. He has attempted to convince the Academy that the most effective method of preventing disease is through a ludicrous concept called a vaccine, whereby, and to try to contain your laughter, whereby a man is injected with a disease in order to prevent it.
Sir, I have an urgent... See how ludicrous and absurd all this is. Look, anytime the government is offering something for
Free. Free. Free, free, free. 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 Free, free, free. Free, 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 free. Free, free, free. Free, free. Free, free, free. Free. Free, free. Free. Free, free, free. Free. Free, free.
free exactly. The fact that they're giving these vaccines away for free should be a red flag. Since when has the government ever gave people helpful things for free? This is programming the masses, just like we are seeing with the rise in witchcraft and Satanism, people getting desensitized to the new normal. Something bigger is coming. They are really pushing for a universal vaccine. Some claim this will give people immunity from 85% of all diseases, and even might stop cancer. I wrote an article about this last year, that I will post up here soon. Look, what we should find interesting, is that vaccine comes from root vacca, which means cow. Now ponder, beloved ones, who the cattle, I mean the goyim, really are. Now we know that in the book of Revelation, chapter 6 verse 8, we find the following. They were given power of 1/4 of the earth to kill with plague of the beasts of the field. Did you catch that? Plague of the beasts of the field. Now what is a cow? Bingo, beast of the field. And isn't that something? A vaccine is derived from plasma serum of cows and other like animals. The life is in the blood. Blood is being put into these vaccines, then being injected into people temples. Clearly, the scare tactic has been spreading like a global wildfire. My question is, has the measles mutated? Seriously, back in the day, many of us got the measles and survived. Even the Brady Bunch made an episode about it. Check it out.
Peter, what are you doing home from school?
They sent me home. Measles.
That's either measles or a strange case of red freckles.
You have got a temperature.
They told me 101.1. What's the record?
Never mind.
Oh, are you sure it's the measles?
Well, he certainly got all the symptoms. A slight temperature, a lot of dots, and a great big smile.
A great big smile.
No school for a few days.
Say hello to my dotted son for me. Tell him I'll bring him some comic books and I'll see you later, dear.
Okay, honey, bye.
Boy, this is the life, isn't it? Yeah. If you have to get sick, sure can't beat the measles. That's right. No medicine.
Inside or out? Like shots, I mean.
Don't even mention shots. Yuck!
Measles, measles, measles. Well, all the kids have now had the measles.
So have I.
Well, I had them years ago. Looks like the Bradys are finished with the measles.
Hold it. You're not through yet.
Alice, don't tell me you're coming down with the measles.
Oh, I hope so. I'd hate to think I was just learning how to blush at my age.
All of us from that generation got it, and survived. Do not be deceived. Mandatory global vaccinations is on the horizon, and this is not just for children but for adults as well. Like I mentioned before, this is just a practice run for something far more worse. Shalom and be blessed.
So be on the lookout for this man, Louis Pasteur. He has attempted to convince the Academy that the most effective method of preventing disease is through a ludicrous concept called a vaccine, whereby, and to try to contain your laughter, whereby a man is injected with a disease in order to prevent it.
Sir, I have an urgent announcement for you. Here.